Hey guys, Worldwide Sports here. With the NFL season now underway, we're going to take a look at all 32 teams in the NFL and see how they stack up going into the regular season. Today we're talking about the Seattle Seahawks. Let's get into it. First, let's take a look back at the season Seattle had last year. Seattle went 10-5-1 last year and captured the division crown. In the playoffs, they beat the Detroit Lions 26-6, eventually losing to the Atlanta Falcons in the divisional round, 20 to 36. One of the major reasons for their loss in the playoffs and through their struggles throughout the regular season was their inadequate play of the offensive line. Let's take a look at their offseason moves and see how they look to address those. The Seahawks went into free agency looking to shore up some holes, but they had a very questionable signing in my opinion in the signing of Luke Jokel to a 1-year, $8 million contract. I don't hate the signing of Jokel. I hate the contract itself. $8 million is way too much for a guy that's never performed to his talent. Now, a 1-year prove-it deal would have been more to the liking of the Seahawks brass, in my opinion. They also signed Ode Abashi, the former New York Jets guard. These are two moves that doesn't significantly improve the talent of that offensive line. Probably their biggest name they brought in for free agency this year was Eddie Lacy, the former Green Bay Packer and Roll Tide running back. Lacy is looking to redeem himself. Seattle sent Marshawn Lynch in a 6th-round pick to the Raiders in exchange for a 5th-round pick. Now let's take a look back at the draft for the Seahawks. With their first pick coming in the 2nd round, they selected Malik McDowell, defensive tackle out of Michigan State. Now McDowell did get hurt in an unrelated football injury, and his career is now in jeopardy. With their second round pick, they selected Ethan Powick, offensive lineman out of LSU. In the 3rd round, they selected Shaquille Griffin, cornerback out of Central Florida. With their other 3rd round pick, they selected D'Angelo Hill, safety out of Michigan. With their other 3rd round pick, they selected Nazir Jones, defensive tackle out of North Carolina. With their last 3rd round pick, they selected Amar Dubrow, wide receiver out of Michigan. In the 4th round, they selected Tidrick Thompson, safety out of Colorado. With their second of what would be 3 6th-round picks, they selected Mike Tyson, safety out of Tennessee. With their last 6th-round pick, they selected Justin Senior, offensive lineman out of Mississippi State. With their first 7th-round pick, they selected David Moore, wide receiver out of East Central. In wrapping up the draft for the Seahawks, they selected Christopher Carson, running back out of Oklahoma State. Last year, the star quarterback threw for over 4,000 yards and had 21 touchdowns with 11 interceptions, all while being sacked 41 times and being constantly under pressure. On the ground is where the Seahawks really struggled last year. Their leading rusher, Christian Michael, had under 500 yards and only had 4 yards per pop, but did have 6 touchdowns. Thomas Rawls had under 400 yards and only averaged 3.2 yards per pop. At wide receiver with Jermaine Kearse now gone, it's going to be up to Doug Baldwin to continue his stellar play. Last year, Baldwin had 94 catches and over 1,000 yards with 7 touchdowns. Jimmy Graham had 65 catches for just under 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns. Him and Russell Wilson looked like they found their groove last year. Tyler Lockett also had a nice year before getting hurt. He had 41 catches for just under 600 yards and averaged 14.6 yards per catch. On defense, where Seattle's really hung their hat the last couple years, and this year should be no different. They have stars like Bobby Wagner, who had over 167 total tackles last year. Also at linebacker, you have KJ Wright, who had over 126 total tackles and had 4 sacks. Up front, they still have Michael Bennett and Cliff Averill. Avrill's coming off a year where he had 11.5 sacks last year and forced a whopping 5 fumbles. In 11 games last year, Michael Bennett added 5 sacks, and Frank Clark added 10 sacks. The Legion of Boom is still the Legion of Boom. Richard Sherman last year had 4 interceptions. Earl Thomas, the brains behind the operation, had 2 interceptions last year, and this defense definitely took a step back after his injury. Cam Chancellor had 85 total tackles last year and 2 interceptions. With all their injuries and their inadequate offensive line play, the Seattle defense was still 3rd stingiest in the league, allowing just over 18 points per game. This season is all going to come down to how does that offensive line hold up. If this line is any better than last year, then Seattle could see themselves in a Super Bowl. They still have Pete Carroll, one of the best coaches and one of the best motivators in the league. Alright guys, Worldwide Sports, we're getting out of here. 12th man. Let me know down below. Comment, how do you guys think the Seahawks are going to do this year? Subscribe to the channel, guys. We got a lot more coming. Worldwide Sports, we out. This has been a Worldwide Sports production.